Am I raising my kid the right way? Am I doing the right things? Remember that being a mother or a father is the greatest blessing in life. What you need to do is first work on yourself. Example is not the best way to teach your child. Example is the only way to teach your child. Tomorrow, the child's opinion of the world, of other people, of how life is, to a great extent comes from what he or she has observed from you, the parent. Observing your own feelings and working on them is a great way to encourage your child also to develop good feelings and habits. The other, where is my child picking up these things from? How do I influence my child positively? Want to master the science and art of joyful manifestation? Want to know what exactly could be blocking or coming in the way of your manifestation? Then join me for a day filled with powerful tools and techniques to understand and reprogram your subconscious mind with ease, joy, and success. Just a few days more to go. I'm coming to Bangalore on the 19th of April. I look forward to seeing you. One of the most difficult tasks or jobs or responsibilities is that of a parent, because it is said that parents don't have a ready manual with which to raise their children. So there are really no fixed rules, and therefore every parent has one question in mind. Am I raising my kid the right way? Am I doing the right things? Sometimes parents may not be conscious enough to realize that perhaps the child is taking in some information, some ideas which they would not want to give their child. So if as a parent you observe a certain behavior in your child, if you feel that looking at your child, you do not want your child to have such values, and from where are these things coming onto the child? There could be so many questions coming to you as a parent. Where is my child picking up these things from? How do I influence my child positively? I'm going to pick up all of these questions and try to answer them as much as possible in this video. So whether you're a new parent and you want to know how to best raise your child, or you're currently having a child who's growing up very quickly, or what is it that I can do right now to correct my child's behavior or to influence my child more positively, then please watch this video right up to the end. First of all, please understand that children are always absorbing the energy of people around them. The reason why we emphasize so much on the energy absorption by children is because their minds are very impressionable. You see, their subconscious mind when they are young is very, very receptive to programming. It's like a basket that is open. You can put whatever you want inside the basket. The basket is not full yet. So when a child is born, the child is picking up everything from his environment. Whether you consciously said something or not, whether you even verbally said something or not, the child picks up energy through touch. The child is of course picking up energy through actions. So as a parent, be mindful. Your child is observing you all the time. Tomorrow, the child's opinion of the world, of other people, of how life is, to a great extent comes from what he or she has observed from you, the parent. And so it's a big responsibility that you have to ensure your child is not viewing the world with, negative thoughts and feelings. For example, if you're having a tough time, if you're dealing with some anxiety, if you're stressed about something, the child picks up the stress from you. So when the child grows up to be an adult, this is how the child will react to circumstances. The child will instantly feel stressed and anxious, perhaps not feel powerful enough, perhaps even feel vulnerable, because that's the energy the child has picked up predominantly from the parents. So the first thing is, please sort your own energy. Work on your own energy first. You can't be only telling the child what to do and teaching the child wonderful things if you don't come from a positive state of mind, if you don't come from a space, a state where you are constantly working on yourself and you're open to working on yourself. There are so many parents who want to correct children, but when you tell the parents something about how they should be correcting themselves, they get very defensive and they feel, no, I'm doing my best as a parent, I can't do more than this. So if you're not open to feedback, and if you're not willing to work on yourself, chances are your child is also not, because he picks up this behavior too from you. Be open to work on yourself. Identify which areas you need to work on. Perhaps you're not very tolerant and patient, and then you want your child to very patiently sit and finish his or her food. You are not very tolerant of other people's views, and you want your child to listen to you. Despite not agreeing with you, you want him to follow your instructions. That becomes a problem. Why? Because example is not the best way to teach your child. Example is the only way to teach your child. He is only looking at what you are doing. She is only looking at what you do, how you handle your day-to-day affairs. So your relationship with other people, your relationship with your own self. For example, are you kind to yourself? Do you take good care of yourself? That will determine the self-love quotient of your child as well. Your relationship with other people will determine what your child expects from other people. Is her or his relationship going to be harmonious with others? To a great extent depends on how have you managed your problems, how have you managed your relationship with people. So if you are constantly criticizing some family member or some friend, chances are the child picks this up. The energy that he or she picks up is people are not nice, people don't care about us. So you see, many times the child grows up to even have resentments for the parents, because for the child he's picked up this energy that people are not nice. Perhaps my parents also are not nice, the world is also not nice, people are not nice, and that is not healthy for the child. Then the child grows up to be insecure. Why? Because he's not found that safety, security from other people. So if your child currently is showing some signs of negative behavior, perhaps the child is having some extreme behavior, like a lot of aggression, anger, throwing too many tantrums, not listening to you, trying to stay isolated most of the times, not connected with you too much. Obviously, there are some emotions, there are some feelings he or she is dealing with. And obviously, they cannot deal with them, which is why it's coming out in the form of this behavior. What you need to do is first work on yourself. You keep telling the child what is right and what is wrong. Of course, as a parent, you have to continue to correct the child. You also will have to be firm with the child many times. However, if you start working on yourself and then correct the child, you see, you will correct the child with a stronger energy and more impact. Then the child will start to listen to you also. But you see, if you are not improving, you are yelling and talking to the child and you want the child to not yell, then that's going to backfire. The child will not listen to you. In fact, it will create more and more disconnect between you and your child. So, observing your own feelings and working on them is a great way to encourage your child also to develop good feelings and habits. The other thing is, whatever you want to tell the child, make sure that you explain why he or she should do this. Most of the times children will say, you can't do this, that's it. Why? Why can't I do this? Because I said so, says the parent. That is not the way you can influence the child. You will have to explain. So if the child demands, let's say, a computer, an iPad or a laptop and says, I want this right now, and you don't want to give the child, perhaps you want to tell the child, not right now. But if you say not right now, finish, no other conversation, then the child begins to get resentful. He feels, why? And then he will of course start to throw more and more tantrums, and perhaps he will say things or she will say things they should not say. Instead, explain why I don't want you to have this iPad right now is because I feel that you need to focus on your studies for the next few months. I feel you need to work on certain things right now, which is getting more disciplined. And once we get through this phase, we work on ourselves, you can have it. I don't want to give it to you right now, perhaps because it's a little difficult for me at the moment. And few months later would be the best time to buy you something. So let the child understand whether it is a difficult thing for the mother or father to do simply because of the finances. You say it in a nice way. You say that we will do it. Few months later will be a better time to do it because then we can get better things for ourselves. Like that, whatever it is, you explain to the child. But don't let the child feel disempowered. Don't let the child feel that we don't have enough, that we lack. Start speaking in an empowering language to the child, saying it would be so much better we do it few months later. Or perhaps let's look into it maybe a bit later, maybe a month later, maybe 3 months later, maybe next year. So you're not completely saying no to the child. You're telling the child, perhaps we can talk about this a little later. Like that, if you explain to the child, sit down and talk to the child, most of the times children listen, children understand. And they will feel involved in your decision making if you say, what do you think about it now? I want your opinion on this. So see, as children are growing, if you involve them in decision making, if you talk to them about how they feel about a situation, then they feel responsible. Then in fact, they want to act more responsibly because they have got a feeling that their emotions matter, that their feelings are valued by you. That's a very healthy way of parenting, involving the child in decision making and explaining things to the child rather than simply stating things. Explain things to the child. Third is doing some activities together. See, whether it's playing sports together, whether it's vacationing together, whether it's simply playing some indoor games, you need to involve yourself in an activity with your child. Because when you involve yourself in an activity, the child is getting to see your playful side. You also get to bond better with your children. And this ensures you're giving each other valuable time. The child will appreciate this time, and all through his life, all through her life, the child will keep this in mind, that my parents took time out for me, that they had such lovely memories. Because most of the times when you're playing, you're having fun, you make some wonderful memories. It's such a light environment that creates a very positive effect on the child's brain and mind. So make sure you do that. Apart from, of course, games, sports, outings, one particular activity which I'm sure most of us do, but in case you still haven't been doing it, I will sincerely urge you to start doing it. And that is praying together. Perhaps, individually everyone in the house is praying, but really it's about coming together and taking some time out to pray. Whichever form of God, divine you believe in, take time out to come together as a family, even if it means few minutes. Come to your altar, pray. And few minutes of silence if the family maintains together. Perhaps you have a common prayer that you all say together. For example, dear God, thank you for all the blessings you have given us. Thank you for inspiring us to do our best every day. Thank you for this wonderful life. Please help us appreciate everything we have. Please bless us so we may use our mind, our body, and perform all actions in a manner that is appropriate for us, that is pleasing to you, and that is helpful to the world at large. Thank you for blessing us with abundance, with happiness, with a lot of peace, joy, prosperity of all kinds. Thank you for giving us good health. Thank you for blessing us with mental and physical well-being. And thank you for being with us at all times. Simple prayer like that, if the family can say together, it is very helpful, not just for the family to bond, but also to reinforce this fact, this truth, that there is always a power greater than any problem or challenge in our lives. And you can inculcate this habit, this sanskar in your child by keeping this activity together every day. Before you sleep, or perhaps when you wake up in the morning, just come together for a minute or two and say this prayer. Spend some time in silence. Let everyone release all their worries, their problems to God. If you teach your child to surrender to God, to release all his or her problems to God, no matter what their age. You see, if they're 3 years, then they can sit in silence for 3 minutes with you. Now, obviously, a child of 3 years of age may not concentrate. Yet, you have told the child, listen, we have to sit in silence. They will hear you all over again. They will hear you again and again. They will start practicing it. 4 years, 4 minutes of silence. 5 years, 5 minutes of silence. And that is the time that they can actually start doing this prayer together with you. Now, you can also at that moment maybe teach them to practice gratitude. So if they are experiencing some problems in their life, maybe they are teenagers and now they don't get along with their friends, or they're experiencing some pressure in school or college, make them do a 2-minute exercise with you to write down something that is working well for them in their life. So what I'm talking about is the practice and attitude of gratitude. If you start early, you will notice even without your pushing, your child will continue these practices for a long time. Why? Because the child is developing self-confidence, self-control, discipline, at the same time, a sense of well-being inside, that I have everything I need to do well in my life. I'm safe, I'm secure, I don't need to depend on anyone outside of me. That feeling of positivity is generated when the child is introduced to practices like gratitude and prayer. So if you haven't done this already, make sure you come together as a family to practice gratitude and practice prayer. Finally, one important thing. You see, if you want to teach your child the right values, please inculcate the habit of reading good books. Nothing like a good book for your child. Not only is he helping develop his brain when he's reading, his sensory organs, most importantly, you see, what he's reading is impacting every part of his body. It's going right into his subconscious mind. So make the child read good books. You see, of course, apart from making them read books that help them develop language, communication skills, make sure you make them read books that teach them values. Because when they learn values, they get stronger from inside. Their energy gets stronger. Even if it means a few minutes in the day of reading a book which gives them good values, it's going to go a long way in making the child always use his mind, use his wisdom to act out of conscience, never to simply act out of peer pressure. Such a child will never ever get into wrong company. Why? Because he's developed those sanskars, he's developed those kind of good habits, he's developed that wisdom, he's learned how to go inside and connect with his higher power. So that's the advantage of making the child read good books. Finally, if you're finding it very hard as a parent and it's an exhaustive journey, it's not easy, you have your own problems, it's your work, it's perhaps your own relationships, and you feel that, no matter what I do, my kids don't appreciate, or no matter what I do, no one appreciates. Just remember that being a mother or a father is the greatest blessing in life. Why? Because through your child, the universe is giving you an opportunity to work on your own self, because your child will always mirror your insecurities, your fears. The child is mirroring your innermost feelings that perhaps you are not even aware of. So take this as an opportunity to improve your life, because when your child is learning good values from you, you are helping yourself heal. So every time you want to teach something good to the child, remind yourself, as I feel better, as I work on my energy, my child will improve. Because ultimately your child is triggering you only because the universe is telling you, hey, you need to work on yourself. And your children are the best ways the universe can send you this message, that go within and clear your mind, clear your heart. So if it's tough, please give all this to God. Surrender all your own worries and your problems to God. It's enough to say, God, I'm trying my best. You please take care of my child. Let my child grow into a beautiful, healthy, strong, independent, responsible, and successful adult. You say this prayer every day. It is said that a parent's prayer is very powerful, because God is always blessing parents, because after all, they're raising the new generation, right? Today's child is going to be tomorrow's youth, and youth can influence the world at large. So God is giving you that power of transformation. All you need to do is give all your worries, your thoughts, your problems to God, and He will take care. He will give you strength. He will give you गाइडेंस। अगर आपको ये वीडियो पसंद आया और इस चैनल से आप ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा टिप्स, टूल्स और टेक्निक्स का फ़ायदा उठाना चाहते हैं, तो इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब ज़रूर कीजिए। सब्सक्राइब करेंगे तो आपको लेटेस्ट नोटिफिकेशंस आ जाएंगे हमारे वीडियोज़ के, और फिर हम एक साथ एक दूसरे को इंस्पायर कर पाएंगे।